Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Gamefromscratch, and today we are checking out Unigine, because Unigine 2.18 or 2.18 was just released, and what you see in front of you, this is Unigine, and what you may notice right away, it is a looker. This is a very nice looking game engine, probably of the engines, so Unity and Unreal. I would say there's probably slots in between the two for graphic fidelity, so out of the box, you probably get better looking results with Unigine than you would with Unity, and maybe slightly worse than Unreal Engine. But as you can see, it is a stunningly beautiful game engine. On top of that, you've got a number of programming language supports behind it. So you've got C#, you've got their own scripting language, and you've got C++ as well. It's available for Windows and Linux operating systems. Let's just do a quick navigation around this scene. Not a lot going on in this hallway. Another impressive thing about it is it's actually fairly performant. This is all running in 4K on my 3070 mobile machine, and it's just flawless. So beautiful renderer going on. One of the big things in this 2.18 release is they have actually updated the back-end renderers. So they're now using Vulkan and Direct3D12 by default. And yeah, you can go ahead, you can check this guy out. There is a community version available completely for free. There's actually two big reasons why I think Unigine isn't as popular as the other UN engines, or Unity or Unreal Engine out there. One of them is that lack of a free version. So this version didn't exist before, so people couldn't check it out. That was a huge mistake, in my humble opinion. And the other thing is, you're going to notice here with the way things are targeted: engineering, sim. It's been aimed at robotics, engineering, design, CAD, those kind of markets, even though it is a full-fledged game engine. In case you're wondering what pricing is like, it is free for up to $100,000 in revenue in the last year. More than that, you got to do $1,500 per seat per year, unless you're working in very specific industries: defense, gambling, engineering, energy, or mining, oil and gas, in which case you need to use either the engineering or sim license of it, and there's additional functionality baked into those guys. But you're going to find community does most of what you need, and there is, if you're successful, you're going to be selling your game or whatever, there is your ultimate pricing here. Now, you probably know these guys actually from their benchmarking tools. So Unigine makes some of the most popular benchmarks out there. Heaven Valley Superposition, which is actually, that's the demo that we looked at in the engine itself. So these are all, benchmarking, high-end graphics, benchmarking stuff. So they know they're rendering stuff. So a little bit now back to Unigine 2.18 or 18. I think it's 18, to be honest. But first thing they've done is they've rendered the douchiest looking guy that they could possibly come up with for this video. I don't know how they managed to make it so incredibly douchey. But we have a kind of a breakdown of their new features in here. So there's a lot of really nice stuff here. There's that new back end. You got animation retargeting, animation frame masks, in basic inverse kinematics and experimental format, VR improvements, some changes to the editor, UAV demo, and other things. But I actually find that these release notes are a little bit better in terms of breaking down what's in 2.18, because there's quite a bit in this release. Again, the number one new thing is this. So we got DirectX 12 and Vulkan are now the primary graphics APIs, which also has some performance ramifications as well. Speaking of performance ramifications, there are a number of optimizations across the board. VR is now in the core, so supports more VR devices, and it's no longer a plugin. It is basically just base part of the game engine itself. They've optimized RAM consumption, new event system instead of callbacks, asynchronous shader compilation, improved morph target support, experimental. So again, doesn't mean that it's going to, don't use it in production, doesn't mean that it's going to happen, but it should. Animation system improvements, new API, basic inverse kinematics, retargeting frame masks, and so on. Improved exposure and white balance correction, a local tone mapper. We'll see examples of that in action in just a second. Multiple visual improvements, including sharpen and blur for MIP maps, faster surface scattering, improved translucence, and more. Open SSL support, editor, battery name, more visualizers, better world node hierarchy, updated cleaner, and a lot of quality of life improvements. There is a new drone demo project and a free learning course. So that is pretty comprehensive for a release, to be honest. Again, the big one is probably the DirectX 12 and Vulkan are the primary graphics details. A little bit more breakdown on how they work there and what you should see out of it. So between 2.17 and 2.18, you're seeing a 5.8% increase in the Vulkan rendering and a 17.6% frame rate improvement in DirectX 12. So that's definitely impressive. We also, again, have RAM performance optimization. So the amount of RAM consumed has dropped. DirectX 11, between between those versions is using 6.6% less. DirectX 12 is using 18% less. Vulkan 16% less, and OpenGL almost 10% less. So that's definitely nice. They improved the performance of the subsurface scattering, a 2x boost while producing the same result. You can see there's subsurface scattering in action right there. You use this for things like flesh surfaces, that kind of stuff. Again, light optimizations as well. So the average shadow rendering performance in DirectX 12 is improved by 14% and Vulkan by 6%. They've got shadow improvements that are reusing shadows, or at least an option to reuse shadows here, and you're getting a 42 to 89 to 51% improvement in performance from all of those changes. Definitely going to see just faster results out of this engine. You got asynchronous shader compilation. This should make things definitely nicer when working with the engine, loading things up. It should make it, just basically your shaders will compile faster. And, well, I guess they're not compiling faster. They're compiling in asynchronously. So it results in a much faster result in the engine. You also have over here an improvement to the FPS counter, an update to the FPS counter. So you've got, a couple of other things. And this is kind of nice actually here, as it's showing you when it's CPU bound and so on. And then you got this exposure and white balance correction. So you can use curve tools here. So you can actually change the exposure light balance in the render using that curve. We got improvements to the denoiser. So there's the 2.17. You're going to really see it over here. So focus on this area right here. 2.17, 2.18. Pretty profound result there. So definitely improvements on the denoiser side of things. We've got a local tone mapper here. So images with HDR have high luminance ratio between bright and dark in the scene. Tone mapping provides a computationally simple solution, but they apply the same mapping functionality to all pixels of the image, resulting in a loss of contrast. A new local tone mapper with a mask generated based on the whole image provides a more pleasing result because human vision is more sensitive to local contrast. So you can see, again, tone mapper on, off, and then we'll see it as we slowly slide, especially you see it in the clouds. Definitely changes there. And you're also seeing it in the shadowing down here profoundly, right there. So again, improvements to the tone mapper there. We've got improved translucence. This one's pretty mild. You definitely get a little bit more of the light coming through or not coming through specifically on those leaves right there. Clouds in reflections. See the results right there. So you can activate those with settings, render clouds in mode, render to panorama, and volumetric. So you're definitely seeing it's all about the reflections coming out like so in those windows as you go. Sharpen and blur for mipmaps. So mipmap type box, mipmap type sharpen. Okay, that's definitely very profound. You're seeing it in the leaves in the background there. So new feature there. And then here it is zoomed in so you can see it even more. So it's going to make foliage look a lot better on the whole. And then under other animation improvements here, again, a lot of these are marked as experimental. Animation retargeting is always very nice. So basically, yeah, so you can see a perfect example of retargeting. Use the same skeleton and animations across multiple different characters, and you can see how profoundly different your characters can be. Another new thing here is frame masks, a simple way of reusing animation. A couple words about how they work. To each layer of an object mesh skin, you can assign some animation, and based on its frames, it will change bone animation on this layer. You can use masks to choose which components of the animation, position, rotation, scale, their combination, or all of them are to be used for each particular layer. In case any component is missing in the mask, corresponding value will be taken from the T-pose. We have experimental inverse kinematics going on right there. Improved morph target support. They've kind of got douchey James Garfield going on here. And then we've got, again, improvements to VR. The key thing being that VR is now built directly in. No more need for the plugins. They're being deprecated and will be removed in the next SDK release because they're not needed. They're built into the engine itself. They have a new engine system in place as well. Again, we talked about all the other things, but again, a number of other improvements here. Landscape terrain performance, 74 and 63% faster. And then here, lossless compression, big change there. Lossy compression, not as much, but The decompression definitely got a lot faster there. And yeah, that's kind of it. We got a number of other smaller improvements going on as well, but I would say pretty big step forward in this particular release. This kind of just keeps going and going and going, by the way. So you get an idea of exactly how much is in this release. I will have the full release notes linked in the linked article down below, as well as a link to this version, the Cole's Notes or the Cliff Notes version of it as well, with our douchey coffee boy. But ladies and gentlemen, that is it. That is Unigine. Unigine 2.18, or I guess it's 2.18. So again, here we are inside of Unigine. You get an idea of both the performance and the visual quality. Look at those lights. It's definitely a very pretty engine. You'll be shocked with just how much it's got out of the box. But the weird thing about it you're going to find is it just doesn't focus on game development. It's always been a secondary market for them. So that's why this thing just isn't being used to make that many games. Because you're going to find, you check out Unigine, it's going to be more powerful than you ever thought it could be. And again, C++, C#, Unigine script, all available out of the box. It's an impressive engine. Let me know what you think and what you think of the 2.18 update in the comments down below. I will talk to you all later. Goodbye.